Hey guys, this is CS, the founder of More Money Malaysia. More Money Malaysia is the site for local Malaysians to get honest, actionable insights into what would otherwise be complex financial topics. And which is the reason why we're here today, because we want to break out that complexity of insurance, primarily medical insurance, so that you don't have to pay that high, like such a high premium, right? And in some cases, you could be saving over 50% just by going through this 30-minute webinar. And in order to help us through this whole conversation, my partner here is JS. JS, welcome.
A pleasure to be here.
So can you tell us more about yourself? Like, why are you, like, how long have you been in this business?
All right. So I've been in the insurance industry for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Quite an interesting transition because before that I was actually in corporate Malaysia. I was an external auditor and after that a financial controller.
Okay, and within those 4 years, how many clients do you currently serve now?
I've currently served 150 clients over the 4 years. So it was, I think for most people that, especially people that's in the finance industry, they will understand this. My past occupation involves a lot of late nights and Excel facing time, right? So I actually do not say I know a lot of people. So I was lucky enough to actually have a lot of friends and family start off giving me the opportunity to actually serve their insurance needs.
Yeah, okay. And from there, you know, within 4 years, you got to 150 clients. I mean, you could have started with 150 clients, I guess. If are all these 150 like just family and friends, or
It's a mixture.
Yeah.
So for myself, I started off with a lot of referral.
Yeah.
So because I do not do any cold calling, so what we say cold calling in the industry, but mostly referrals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is really cool, right? The fact that someone's willing to refer you to their friends or their family means that every referral is really them putting their own reputation on the line.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a saying to say that the best compliment I can receive is a referral.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And for those like 150 or so clients now, what types of savings have you been able to help them with?
for most general people, we'll be able to save close to 20 to 30% in terms of what they are paying or what they are proposed. But for an extreme case, this year, in fact, just this year, family actually managed to save them close to 100,000 after an entire in-depth review of what they are actually paying right now and what they are in terms of what they are getting back in return in terms of the coverage. So 100,000 is, it's not to say a lot, especially it's not a lot. It's not a lot if you.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's not a lot if you know what you're paying for, right? But the problem is that they are not too sure. So yeah, so that was quite a very fulfilling progress to go
Yeah.
through.
Well, I hope after this that, you know, we probably won't be saving 100,000, but 20, 30, 40, 50% maybe.
That'll be better.
Let's see if we can make that happen.
Yeah.
All right, so although this webinar is completely free, you do have a responsibility throughout this webinar, right? And that responsibility isn't to us, but it's to yourself, right? You're already taking the time to go through this 30-minute webinar to learn what your opportunities are to cut down on those unnecessary expenses, right? So make sure you take lots of notes, and if you ever have any questions, we will have a way for you to contact us about that, right? So take all the notes you can, but I promise you by the end of this that you would have all the information you need to have a proper conversation with any sort of like medical insurance, in terms of the medical insurance agents and premiums and stuff, right? And who knows, maybe you are going to be one of those people that from getting shown a quote to now knowing what you're doing, you could be one of those people that could be saving over 50%. All right. Okay, so let's just dig right into this. JS, what's the first way that someone can be saving, you know, quite a bit from insurance premiums?
Right. Tip number one is understanding what you want, or be an informed consumer, because we do know that right now in terms of medical card, right? If based on your past experience, whenever you go to an agent, they always ask you whether you want a single room or sharing room or whatnot. So that is your room and board limit. So we do know that your room and board limit, let's say, is 200 or 250.
Can we redo that?
Yeah.
With the sound.
I think you record the part whereby you say just jump in, then you can cut that. So if I do need to redo whichever part, then you do not need to keep saying that.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I'll say that. Let's dig in, and then we'll do a little pause, and I'll say, JS was tip number one. All right. So let's just dig right into the 5 ways that we can reduce our insurance premiums. JS, what is tip number 1 here?
Right. Tip number 1 is basically knowing what you need and what you want. Right. So when we buy a medical card right now, it's always based on the room and board. And your room and board will actually influence your annual limit. So a room and board rate of let's say 250, which will definitely get you a single room nowadays. You're looking at the premium for individual that's a lady that's 40 years old.
Yeah.
We want to cover her until 80 years old. So you'll be looking at the premium of 340 a month.
Okay.
Right. So but an agent could come and tell you that why not you get a room and board of 500 instead. Right. You probably get a higher annual limit, but your premium is about 460 for the same things that we want. The thing is that whether you need that higher limit right now, it's a debatable question.
Okay. So the first way here is understanding what you need, right?
Yep.
And I guess the 2 main factors here is the room and board, which kind of influences your annual limit.
Correct.
Which could, put someone from 340 to 460. That's what, 120 by 12 months. That's almost 1,500 right there.
About there.
Perfect. Okay, how about tip number 2?
Right. So some medical cards nowadays, a lot of times we do hear from our clients that I bought a medical insurance, but I'm not using it, so I'm wasting money, right? So nowadays, some medical cards, they do offer a so-called no-claim refund.
Okay.
So in the past, when you do not use your medical card, what they'll do is that they'll upgrade your room and board rate, okay? But nowadays, some medical cards, they do give you a no-claim benefit whereby your cost of insurance, whatever the amount is, you are entitled up to 20% refund on that.
Okay.
And this refund is actually up to you how you want to spend it. You want to leave it in the insurance policy for it to grow, or if you want to withdraw it and you feel that you want to invest yourself, that's entirely up to you. So that's up to 20% there already.
Okay, so for a 40-year-old woman, how much are we looking at?
Okay, for a 40-year-old woman, let's say she gets a room and board of 250. She'll probably be looking at, let's say 20% refund, she'll be looking at about 360 ringgit a year.
Not too bad. And what exactly is cost of insurance? Because I think for us, we hear more about premiums, right? So cost of insurance doesn't really get talked as much about. What's that?
Cost of insurance, basically the cost for the insurance company to insure you.
Okay.
Right. So that doesn't mean that is your premium. So let's take back the same example of a 40-year-old lady. Right. So we do know that her premium is 340 a month.
Yeah.
Correct. But in reality, her cost of insurance is only 1,008 per year. So that means when we translate that to per month, it's about 100 plus ringgit only. Basically half of your premium.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. So tip number 2 here is to see if, I guess, a company that you're working with has the ability to get a no-claim refund.
Correct.
Right? Because you could get up to 20% of your cost of insurance, just like that.
Yep.
All right, so what's tip number 3 here?
Right. Tip number 3 is basically determining your coverage term. Right. So currently, what we have in the market is the coverage up to 70, 80, or 90 years old. But if you are not aware, your coverage term will actually affect your insurance premium. And if you are
Okay, let's try that again.
life is so much easier.
See? No options. Okay.
Okay, if you were to have a coverage up to 100 years old, rather than people quote you.
Yeah. So what's tip number 3 for these people?
Tip number 3 is...
I don't like that.
Again.
All right, JS, so what's tip number 3?
Alright, tip number 3 is basically determining your coverage term. Because the longer your coverage term, obviously the higher the premium is. And right now in the market, most companies will cover you either 70 years old, up to 70 years old, 80 or 90 years old. But if you were to get a quote of coverage up to 100 years old upfront without actually informing you of your options, you'll be looking at quite a high premium difference.
Okay. So coverage term. Do we have an example for a 40-year-old woman again?
Alright, sure. Let's say, for example, if I were to get a 40-year-old woman a room and board 250, but I would quote her a coverage term up to 100 years old, we are looking at the premium of 520 a month. Whereas if I were to quote her a coverage term up to 80 years old, it's only 340. Yep.
Okay. And why did you suggest 80?
Right now, in terms of, we talk about statistics, the life expectancy in Malaysia is actually up to 76 years old. So 80-year-old's coverage term is actually the sweet spot for most Malaysians.
Perfect. And from 520 to 340, that's about 180 a month, which is
2001 a year.
2001 a year. So yeah, that's another quite a big saving again, right? Just writing it down for myself. And how about number 4?
All right. Number 4 is basically understanding what you need. All right. A lot of times when I meet up with a potential client, they will actually have already an existing quotation from another agent, and they always tell me that I only want a medical card. But for some reason, when they present to me the quotation, you do see a life coverage 100,000, you see a 100,000 critical illness coverage, you see another 100,000 personal accident. But when it's very obvious the client only wants a medical card.
Yeah.
So these additional riders or so-called benefits or coverage, they actually do contribute quite a bit of additional premiums in what you should be paying instead if you were to only get the medical card.
Okay. So number 4 here is understanding what you need, right?
Yeah.
So if you already have your own life insurance, or if you already have your own personal accident or critical illness, there's no need for you to double it, right? And
no need. If
pay
there's
that
no need,
additional
there's no
premium.
need.
Yeah, that's a big one. Okay, and number 5, what is that last one here?
All right. The magic word is deductibles. Right?
What does that mean?
Okay, a deductible is basically a amount that you will be paying first before an insurance company actually clear the entire medical bill.
Okay.
So it could be 300 ringgit, 5,000, 10,000, or up to 30,000. So depending on which option you do choose, it will definitely affect the premium, because we do see a significant decrease up to 50% in terms of if you take the 30,000 deductible, you do have quite a bit of savings. And you should take advantage of it, because Malaysians, most of them do have medical coverage by their companies. And if you do have that, you can definitely plan your own personal insurance around that also.
Yeah. Actually, if you guys can see on the screen as well, like we do have a little screenshot here. So female 40, if you with no deductible, we're looking at a premium of 340, right? But a 30,000 deductible goes down to 115.
Yeah, it's actually more than 50%.
Yeah, that's 2/3 really. Which is crazy. And I guess, you know, one of the things that I guess people might just thinking out loud here, right? But 30,000 deductible, some people might be like, oh, that's a lot of money. But if you're working at a company right now, right, and you know you're planning to work until you retire at like 55, 60, the company probably offers you some sort of coverage themselves, right? Which means that you can use the company coverage for that first bit, and then afterwards use your own. Right. So I guess if you do it that way, let's assume you do it. Let's say you had a 2,000 ringgit like need to use your card, right? You claim at your company, and because of that, you don't touch, like, you know, your company handles all of that. And you don't pay anything. And because of that, you save 200 something every single month. Within that year, you're saving 2,000, almost 2,500.
And you qualify for the no claim refund. So
additional
right.
So that was back in tip number 3, was it?
Tip number 3. Right.
Yeah, so no claim refund as well. Number two, which, you know, gives you back even more money. And so let's just say it brings you to like 2007 or something like that, right? So 2007 a year, and over the next like 10 years, that's 27,000. You're able to almost handle it yourself.
You haven't even calculate the compounding interest.
Yeah, if you invest it properly, you can do a lot with that. So deductible is a huge one. I think a lot of people probably should be aware of, right? And definitely the easiest way for someone to hit that, like really reduce their premiums.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, so we've looked at 5 different ways for us to help or reduce our premiums. Number 1, becoming an informed customer. Do you know what you need, right? Do you need that 2.5 annual limit, or is that 1.6 limit where you can get a room and board of like 250 enough? And for most people, that is more than enough, right? Number 1. Number 2, no claim refund. Being able to get back up to 20% of your cost of insurance just like that, right? And finding out, does your policy offer that, or are there other policies that might be able to offer that? Number 3, understanding your coverage term. You could be quoted up to living up to 100, but right now, statistically speaking, most people in Malaysia live up to 76. So having a policy that lasts you until 80 is a pretty good bet, right? Number 4, understanding what other riders you already have, right? So if you already have critical illness, if you already have, what else is there? Life insurance and personal accident, then you don't need to have that in this policy, right? And get rid of those and your premium is going to drop again. And number 5, the big one is deductible, right? Is there a way for you to be willing to use this medical card at a higher limit and then find a different way to claim the smaller stuff? And for most people, using your company's medical card is more than enough, right? And that one would easily save you 50% or more.
Easily.
So, with all that said, did you find this useful? Was this a relatively simple process? Did you take down all the notes you need? Are you ready to take control of your own future? Are you ready to take advantage of everything that you've learned so that you don't get taken advantage of again? And are you ready to put this information into use? Because if you are, you're now faced with 2 choices, right? Choice number 1, we can go our separate ways and you have all the information you need to become successful in this, right? And all you gotta do now is find that insurance agent who also understands this, who you can trust, and with yours or with your family's insurance, and it can work perfectly well, fine, right? Or choice number 2 is working with this person right here, JS, right? He's already working with 150 people, and there's a reason for that, right? They trust him. They've referred a lot of other friends and family to him, right? And if you personally are not interested in trying to find this person, and you found that the way JS has presented his information to be easy to understand, and you feel like there might be a way for you to work with him, then feel free to go that path, right? So if you're interested in working with him, we do have a link in the description. So just feel free to go there and just put in your information. This is completely free. There's no expectation for you to. No obligation, no expectation. In fact, if you like this first call, you can even just do it online, right? Don't get stuck in this traffic. Don't get stuck in the situation where you're sitting in front of someone and you just feel that pressure of having to act. We can do this completely online, no problems from you, right?
No problem at all.
And yeah, just find out what your options are. But either way, you have everything you need to make an informed decision. And I do hope that we do hear from your own experiences. Let us know how this whole thing has gone for you, and we look forward to seeing you in something in the near future. Take care, guys.
See you.